I've been waiting since I did my first video for this channel to have an opportunity to talk about strange music for a whole video. And with everything that has come out since 2015 kicked off, this is the perfect time to do this video. I had to throw on my Strange Land shirt because literally there's so much has been released that's to come from that label this year that it demanded a whole video. And this isn't even an exaggeration. So I'm skipping my normal crud intro because I'm sure you don't want to hear that anyway. And we're just going to get into it. So, Strange Music, one of the biggest independent labels in hip hop, co founded by Tech Nine, who has been rapping since before the 2000s. And actually, he's the first artist that I want to talk about. Tech already had a huge 2014 with the release of his 14th overall album and 5th collabo album, Strangulation, last year, that got a top 5 debut on the Billboard chart, which was amazing because his collabo albums have never been the albums that sell. Well, it's always been his solo albums. The collabo albums would sell, but not sell like his normal albums. So that was a very big deal. Tech kicked off 2015 in a very, very big way. January, he sent shockwaves through all of his fans and dropped the release date for his upcoming 15th studio album, Special Effects. The album is set to drop on May 5th. It was originally set for March, but Tech had a very, very good reason for backing the release date up. Now, collaborators are rumored, as it is with every project. It's always rumored who he's going to collab with. This time we had concrete confirmation, at least we hope it is, that Tech's fans or technicians are finally getting the collab that they've wanted since Everready. Tech Nine collaborating with Eminem. Finally, hopefully, we will finally get to see this happen. And he's set to collab on Worldwide Choppers 2. That will be the hip hop song that breaks the internet. Like, not even joking. Fans have been awaiting a Tech and Eminem collab. Trying to get the angle right. Have been awaiting a Tech Nine and Eminem collab since 2006 when he was set to be on Everready, but understandably a lot of personal things happened and Eminem's West couldn't get there for the album. On top of that, you know he had to kick off the hype. Pre-order dropped a couple weeks later, and Tech dropped 2 songs, including the album's intro track, Yeah, and also released Dying Flying. The Tech's album is up for pre-order now on the website, but if you don't have the cash to pre-order right now, he still did you a solid. Both the songs are on iTunes right now for you to grab, and I highly recommend you grab them now because they are very, very hot tracks. And I just listened to an interview he did a couple days ago about the structure that Special Effects is going to have. It's probably, think of it as almost kind of like something else but different, where it's the anger, the party, and then like the serious subject matter at the end. But this is set to be one of his biggest albums ever, and it's shaping up to be one of his best because the 2 songs that have dropped so far have been on constant and consistent repeat, I guarantee you. Next up, Mayday. Mayday's 2014 with Strange was a very, very unlikely collab. 2014 saw Murs get signed to the label, and they released the collab album Murs Day, and closed 2014 with a 3-track EP, also billed to Murs Day. Mayday is now kicking off 2015 with a new Mayday album. Now, that was confirmed, that was released in January, So we don't have we don't have a kind of time frame that we can kind of expect that album to be released in, but we do at least know it's being worked on. And you have to also understand, Recognize is a solo artist on Strange, so he may drop an album as well this year. And plus, Strange fans have been also wondering if we're gonna hear a solo Burns album. Now, Burns doesn't really do social media, so we don't have no idea what he's been working on. So we could possibly see a Burns solo album in the works, and I'd be very interested to hear that. Frankly, because Mayday Burns raps a lot different from how Recognize does in Mayday. So to have a solo album from him would be a very interesting one. Would be a very interesting one, very interesting topic. Now, number three, and this one we've known about since mid 2014. We still haven't heard much about it, but Stevie Stone has been said to be working on a new album. This has been since late 2014, and all Strange artists never really reveal much about their albums up until like it's getting ready to be released. He has though been on social media, kind of asking fans like who they want to see collab who they want to see him collab with on the album. Excuse me, and he has said this time around that the album title won't be a pun on his name. If you notice the last two, Rolling Stone, Two Birds, One Stone, I'm not counting Momentum, that's an EP. But, you know, he's always been wide with collaborations, and he's actually one of my favorite artists on Strange for the simple fact that, his music's, he does real diverse music. On his last album, he had the hard hitting rap songs, like serious subject matter like the baptism, and then he had the slow R&B songs like Boomerang and Boo Thang, which are actually two of my favorite songs on that album. So, you know, it could be a good year for him. And also, one collab we may be able to expect is, if you notice on every Stevie Stone album, he's always collaborated with Funk Volume artists. First album he had Hobson and Swiss, second album he brought along Jared Benton. So third album, we may see a Dizzy Wright collaboration, and that in itself would just be fire. Number 4, Krizz Kaliko. Now he didn't drop anything in 2014, but he was, like every other artist on Strange, featured on the Strange Elation project. His last album was 2013 with Son of Sam. Kali had news to drop right when Tech did. Alongside the announcement of Special Effects release date, Kali dropped an interview announcing his album, and also dropped a bombshell on fans saying it would be his first singing album. Well, I'll repeat that. His first singing album. And if you've heard a couple of his choruses and songs off of Son of Sam, like Scars and Kill for Your Lovin', you see, Krizz is one of those rare, hip hop artists that can actually legitimately sing and hold a note on his songs and live. Every chorus that he's ever done with Tech singing has been a beautiful chorus, and I feel like this may well be one of his most beautiful albums that Kali has ever done. Now, his best to me is still Kicking and Screaming, but this could be a close second, if not able to tie that album for best. And I do have one more other artist to mention, Prozac. Now, I'm gonna drop a bombshell on Strange fans. I'm not really that big on Prozac. I have heard a couple tracks and it's been hit or miss if I like them, but but it's not that he's a bad artist. It's just I gotta get used to his style. His style is one I'm not used to. It's the same thing that I had with when I started listening to Brother Lynch Hung. It's you have to the style of hip hop that I'm used to because I listen to mainstream and independent hip hop. So the style that he does is something that I have to adjust to and get in the mindset of for me to be able to figure out, okay, is this for me? Can I dig it? It's the same thing I had with, the trilogy of albums Lynch Hung had on Strange Music. At first I was like, like what the heck am I listening to right now? But then it grew on me, and I understood the concept of each album itself in the entire trilogy, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can rock with this. And Lynch has actually become one of my favorite strange music artists. So 2015 can see the time that Prozac becomes one of my favorites. He's working on a new album as well, and like with Mayday, we don't know the date, we don't know a time frame on it, but it's strange music. So every artist I've mentioned who's working on an album, it could drop mid year, late year, start of 2016. You never know when the album is gonna drop. And if you do have Twitter, I highly recommend you follow them on Twitter. They will always let you know what's up. And what I love about Strange Music entirely is if you tweet them with questions, they will do their best to get back to you and answer. I've had tweets from Seth's crew, Recognize, even had one from Tech9, like that just reply back to the fans, chit chat with them, asking. I remember one time before last year, before Seth's crew dropped their album, I tried to get a feel of tried to ask about when the pre-order was supposed to drop, and the UBI who runs the Seth's crew Twitter got back to me and gave me the time frame of the pre-order, and I was like, okay, cool. You guys really rock with the fans, and I love that about Strange. I don't have any news about Brother Lynch Hung. He has been working on music, and I'm eagerly awaiting it to drop. I've been dying to hear some new Brother Lynch, especially since after 2013's Madable Lecter and his sole appearance on Strange Elation, I'm eager to hear some new Lynch. I would say Seth's Crew, but they just recently dropped an album like 4 months ago, so they're probably going to tour for the album. Oh, and one last thing I forgot talking about Tech9. Special Effects tour dates are up now. Tour dates are still going up on the daily, so keep checking around for those. But for now, that's all I got. And if you're a Strange Music fan, leave a comment on this. Like, what album are you looking forward to? Who do you want to drop an album? And the albums that you're waiting on to drop, who do you want to see them collab with? Me personally, you know, I listen to a lot of different types of music, and I would really love to see because Tech has already unusual collaborations already, like off his last album. He had a collab with Wiz Khalifa that you didn't think would work, but since it was a party track, it did kind of work. So maybe we can get like a Tech9 and a Weekend collab. I think that would be a fire track. But let me know in the comments, and until then, peace.